Becoming her. That is the title of today's video. So, how do you become her? How do you become the type of woman that you admire, the type of woman that you are inspired by, that you are motivated by? Because that woman is inside of you. You don't have to look to other women to get inspired or to get motivated. That version of you is actually inside of you. She wants to come out, but you've been suppressing her. You've been hiding from her. So in today's video, I will teach you how to become that version of yourself and how do you step out and really become that woman that you actually want to become, but you're a little bit afraid of stepping into your wholeness. So people say things like step into your best version, but I want to take you somewhere better. Let's take you on a version of yourself that God has created you to be his initial plan for you. The version of you that was there before all the trauma, all of the wounds, all of the heartbreaks, all of the hardships, that version of you is available to you, and we can get you back into her. Um, so who you actually are today was molded by society, by religion, by culture, your parents, relationships, your teachers, right? This is who you are today because of all of these authoritative people in your life. But now that you are an adult, you can actually decide who you want to be. Are you okay with being this version of you, or are there areas in your life that you are not happy about? And that one of the reasons it's because you are not stepping into your full potential. So oftentimes women see a potential in men. You know, you see a man, you're like, oh, he can make a great husband. He can be a great dad, right? So you see a potential in other people, in men, and then you support that. But what happens to women a lot of times is that we don't see our own potential. We don't see how big and magnetic and beautiful and successful we can become. So this video is going to help you focus on you. I want you to not just see your potential, but to step into your potential. So you are also this version of you because of your own free will, because you chose to date certain people, maybe even marry certain people. That was your choice. So your choice of your habits, of your interests, you are who you are today because of your free will and the choices that you have made so far. It's also of the people that you were inspired by or they were your authority. They have molded your mindset to be a certain way. But there is a part of you that feels trapped. There is a part of you that still wants to come out. So, how do you know if you're not really living to your fullest potential? What are the signs? What are some of the questions that you can ask yourself? So, these are super important. This list is very important. And if you hit any of them, then that means you're not living to your fullest potential. You're not quite the best version that God wants you to be. So if you're not satisfied in relationships, so you're not really happy with the partners that you are with, that you are attracting, the men in your life, this could also be friendships. You feel like these friends are okay, but you would really prefer maybe other friends. Maybe these people are actually hurting you and you are staying in relationships there that are hurting you. But because you are afraid of being alone, you stay in these relationships. You feel a void or a sense of loneliness, and loneliness creeps in often. So loneliness is something that, a lot of people experience, but people that have found an amazing relationship with themselves, they never feel lonely, because they actually sometimes even love being by themselves because it gives a time for them to think about certain things, maybe set new goals. They love their alone time. But people that haven't built that secure relationship with themselves, loneliness really creeps in and it takes them to like a dark side. And into dark emotions. Or you may feel like a void. You may feel like there's something missing. The next one is you feel like you don't belong. you could be around people, you could be in a social circle, but something just feels off. Something feels uncomfortable to you. You feel small. Maybe you don't even talk much because you feel like these people won't really like understand you. So you shy away from really opening up. The next thing is you feel like you're living someone else's life. When you look back at your life, you're like thinking, how did I end up here? What am I doing here? Is this really the life I should be living? This also comes a little bit later in life, maybe like after 25, when you're hitting like those big marks like 30, 40, 50, 60. Usually around those age gaps, we begin to think, wow, like, is this like what I wanted, like what I dreamed as a little girl that I would be here at this age, or I had other dreams for myself, or did I have other goals and I haven't really achieved them, right? So if you are feeling like you are kind of like falling short, or you're living someone else's life, again, that's saying that you're not living to your fullest potential. Also, maybe you're not making the type of money that you want to be making. This kind of goes hand in hand with maybe you're not happy with the job that you are currently working at. So maybe you got a degree, maybe you are working at a job that you wanted in your 20s, but now that you're older, you're like, I don't really like this job. I don't like the money that it's bringing me, or why didn't I get an education when I was earlier? Why am I? So you're asking yourself all of these why questions, right? And the type of money, maybe you are a stay-at-home mom and you're not really even like bringing in an income. So you might be asking this, like, is my purpose just in this? Is this what I came here for? So all of these deeper questions you're beginning to ask yourself. The next one is, maybe even motherhood is not bringing you the happiness that you thought it would bring you. You have a lot of maybe like mom burnt out and you're constantly feeling tired of motherhood. Motherhood feels very draining and tiring to you. A lot of women actually experience this, especially when you have multiple children. Moms go through this like burnt out. And so sometimes we have to find a breath of fresh air, because, kids go through different cycles. Like they're babies, they're toddlers, they're children, and then preteens and teens, right? And then they move out of the house. So there's a lot of changes that happens with children. And as our children grow up, we constantly have to change. So as we're changing, sometimes we don't breathe in and take like a breather for ourselves and take care of ourselves because we're so busy taking care of all of these children and we don't find time for ourselves. So this is where mom burnt out creeps in. Also, you don't feel emotions like peace, joy, freedom, abundance on a daily basis. So, people that are living to their fullest potential, they feel these emotions pretty much every day. Obviously, if something big kind of crashes into their life, like a death or loss of a job, something very major, then of course they're not gonna, feel this peace and joy, but they know how to quickly bounce out of it. They know how to get out of like the low feelings, the low emotions like fear, like depression, anxiety, unforgiveness, shame, guilt. They don't stay in those emotions. They quickly figure out, okay, like I'm not feeling good. What do I need to do to get out of these feelings and get back into my balance, get back into who I am, because I am filled with life. I am filled with joy and peace and abundance, and I know that life is happening for me. So people that are living in their fullest potential, they know how to balance quickly into the rhythm of life. The next thing is you don't really feel childlike. And what I mean by that is you take life very seriously. Like you know that life is hard. Like we're adults, so we gotta buckle it up and no more having fun, no more laughing, no more, giggling because life is hard. We gotta pay those bills and life is hard, right? So you kind of lose that childlike feeling inside of you. You don't really giggle anymore. You don't really laugh anymore. But that's not life. Life is meant to live in joy. It's meant to live in freedom. It's meant to live with an ease. Yes, it's hard. Yes, we have our hard days. We do have to pay those bills, and we do have to put food on the table, right? And keep a roof over our table. But it doesn't mean it has to be hard. So if you're feeling like you're very serious all the time, and the little girl inside of you feels trapped, she can't really come out, then that means there's some room to grow. Next one is, um, when your little child, inner child feels trapped, you don't really dream for things anymore. You don't really set goals anymore. So you feel like this is it. This is my life. It is what it is. My partner is who my partner is. I just have to be strong and keep going on. But that's not the case. Successful people, people that are living their fullest potential, are always growing. They know that they always set new dreams, they always set new goals. So it's kind of like, if you're not living your fullest potential, you're kind of like a swamp, right? Where water doesn't really flow through. You're like a swamp. Now there's like toads and like frogs in there, right? It's that water that doesn't that stands still, right? But when you are living in abundance, when you are living a happy, thriving life, like energy, flow, life is always flowing through you. You're like a river that never ends. You go from the mountaintops and into a river and into the ocean, and then through the clouds, through the storms, and then you're the cycle that never ends. So that is what a woman looks like when she stepped into her fullest potential, when she stepped into the woman that God has created her to be. She's not like this swamp where it's like dark and heavy and becomes kind of stinky. People don't really want to be around swamps. It feels a little off. There's a lot of mosquitoes biting you. So it's not a very comfortable situation to be in. Or atmosphere to be in. So I want you to become that woman that's like the river. You flow, you love life. And so that's another one indicator that you haven't really stepped into that version of you yet. And the last one, as I kind of mentioned it, is you're settling for life. You don't want to change. Change is very hard for you. So maybe like relocating, moving is really hard for you. Changing things up, you're very set in your ways. um, so that's also an indicator. Um, Also, maybe you don't really take risks anymore, and that kind of goes to your inner child, because children, they take risks. They fall and they get up and they try again. So that is your inner child. Your inner child, they want to take risks. They want to fall and they want to try again and again and again. So that is what your inner child is craving. Also, maybe you don't try new things. Start with trying new foods. Try things like taking a new route to a direction that you're going. Instead of going on the freeway, maybe take the streets. Maybe take another route. Try wearing something new. Try a new color in your hair. Try a new lipstick. So all of these little things, that's very feminine energy. Feminine energy loves change. This is why we constantly like want to change things up in our house, even though we may be living in the same house, but we need new furniture. We need like new curtains, maybe like a new dish, a new cup, because we love change. So a woman, a feminine woman, she loves change. We're like the seasons. We have the winter, we have the spring, we have the summer, we have the fall. So woman is very an intuitive woman, a divine feminine woman. She is okay with change. So how this leads into our next session is, how should you feel like as a woman? So the list that I just mentioned is probably what you are feeling, but deep down you're like, I'm not really happy, I don't really like these things. So how should you feeling? Like, what has God created you to be, and how does He want you to feel? So, when you heal your inner child, when you heal from your wounds, your traumas, you will begin to step into her. So, your childhood, your traumas, your wounds, maybe you were bullied, all of those things are kind of keeping you trapped. They're kind of keeping you small. Maybe relationships that you've had, like a broken heart, all of that is keeping you small and really feeling like the way a woman should be feeling. Healing your feminine energy and stepping into the nature of who God has created you to be. And that means you are not afraid of being judged. You are not afraid of expressing your feelings. You're not afraid that you might be laughed at or that you will be rejected. You have fun in life. Okay, like you enjoy life. You enjoy the birds singing. You enjoy the breeze in the air, like the open window and the way the curtains swing. Like you notice all of that. You notice what flowers are blossoming right now. You can smell lavender or you can smell roses. Like that is what is in our feminine nature, is actually all of our senses being awakened. So the things we see the details in things, the things we smell, right? This is why we can smell certain aromas, right? The things we hear, like the birds, not just the busyness of life, but nature, right? The nature begins to speak to us. um, so you have fun with life, but not the way the world wants you to party and drink, and do all of these things. No, 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 no. That's not the type of fun that I'm talking about. But the type of falling in with life is actually falling in love with healthy lifestyles. So you have a rich spiritual life. You are in amazing physical shape and you have an abundance mindset. Now that is the real love for life. Okay. Um, so, a divine feminine woman is not afraid to be alone. She knows that everything works out for her good. So, if this man is not working out, then that means even a better one is coming up. So she's not afraid to be alone because she's built an amazing relationship with herself. She found a healthy relationship with herself. She doesn't abandon herself, she doesn't reject herself. She says no when she really doesn't want to do something. So she sets boundaries. She doesn't go back on her word. So she has a very firm no. Her no is a very firm no. I'm sorry, I don't want to do that. Maybe next time, right? Doesn't mean it has to be mean. It can be kind, it can be soft, but it's firm. She puts herself first, maybe sometimes even above her children. She takes care of her own cup, and once her cup is filled, then she can flow out of abundance. So she prioritizes her health, her mental state, her time, and her energy. Because let's get real, when we are above like 30, 35, 40, you really begin to see that, wow, like I'm, that middle age crisis a little bit. You're like, I have no time to waste. Like, maybe in your 20s, you kind of had that time to waste. Like, you could have tried this, dating this type of guy and this type of guy. Oh, it's okay. I got heartbroken. I can get over him. But when you get older, you notice you don't really have that energy anymore. You don't have that time anymore. You're kind of tired, not that same energy that you used to have in your 20s. So now you are really careful who you give your time and energy to. So a divine feminine woman is not afraid of what people will say. This kind of comes with maturity, and you learn that, you know what? Like, I am here to live my own life, and I don't really care what they have to say because this is my life, and I'm the one that is going to stand before God. And the only one I'm pleasing is not people pleasing, but God pleasing. So she steps into that mentality that I am here to answer only to God. She's comfortable in her body. She talks with confidence. Her aura is magnetic. Everyone is drawn to her because she doesn't wear masks. So these are kind of the masks that women tend to wear, and that's mask of people pleasing, of overgiving, or we can take it to the darker side, like narcissistic women. You know, they manipulate, they control, they lie. But a divine feminine woman, she is real. And the world knows that it cannot mess with her. She doesn't have any insecurities. She may have weaknesses, but not insecurities. And she knows how to make her weaknesses her strengths. Um, she has an abundance mindset. She stays calm. She knows how to be emotionally intelligent. There is a glow in her eyes, in her smile. Um, and that glow is not because she's in love with a man. That glow comes by being in love with life and everything that life has to offer. She is thankful for the good, the bad, and the ugly. And actually, you know, a good woman, this is what they say, you know, you give her a seed, she will give you children. You give her a home, she will give you, or you give her a house, she will give you a home. You give her some groceries, she will give you a meal. So that's what a divine feminine woman does. You give her, you know, some heartbreak. Oh, she's going to use that heartbreak to fuel her to build even a more amazing life for herself. So you thought you could destroy her with these things, but a divine feminine woman, she fuels out of pain. You know, she knows how to even use pain when pain is thrown at her. So she is not bitter, but always grateful. Gratitude is actually her most powerful tool. Uh, Being authentic, not afraid of not fitting in, and it's okay. She's actually okay with being unique. Actually, your uniqueness is what's gonna make you stand out of the millions and thousands of other people. When you have really stepped into your uniqueness, when you are okay with who you are, and all of that, you know, everything that I have mentioned above is who and what God wants you to be in. That was his original plan. He wants you to be in love with life. Not necessarily a man, but he wants you to be in love with life because you are creation. You know, you have creation living inside of you. You are the creation itself, you know. So go out there, you know, and I hope this video inspired you. And if you really want to step into her, but you need guidance or you need some tools how to do this, if this video was helpful for you, I do have more resources available for you. And I've created a 4-week glow up course where you will learn to glow up your physical appearance, your emotional state, you're gonna glow up and step into a feminine woman. And if you're wondering who I am, my name is Arena, and I actually coach men and women from heartbreaks, and I transition their mindset from victim mentality and into an abundance mindset. Also, heal your heart from a heartbreak and heal your soul. You know, maybe we can go into your inner child and see where all of this is coming from so that you can step into this best version of yourself. I also offer one-on-one coaching. All of that is available, and all of the links will be linked below. And feel free to follow this page if you were inspired by this, if you were motivated by this, and if you really want to step into that best version of you. Give this page a follow, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.